Good morning, everyone. We can kind of gather around a little. I just want to spend a few minutes thanking everybody for coming out and welcoming everyone. We had a little bit of a presentation and kind of an event several months ago back in March. And I'll say that the weather today is much more pleasant than it was that day. It was very cold and windy that day, but we still had a good day. The governor was here and Secretary Redding was here, but beautiful day. We got real lucky for an August that we're not hot and humid. So it's a really good day and a great opportunity to be here. This is going to be our official ribbon cutting ceremony. We've got our board of directors here. We've got a couple that are absent that have some personal issues, health issues going on. But we've got our board of directors here, and I think a couple had been here, but for the most part, this is their first opportunity to see the plant, and I think they are all very pleased and very excited. I know I shared with them, and I hope you guys hear this. I think maybe this is my fourth time here now, and the plant continues to look better, cleaner, nicer, tighter, efficient, all the words you want to use. Just kind of the attitude and the feel of things, quite frankly, as much as anything else. Every time I come back, it just continues to get better. Having the new filler in and having that, I know, is very excited for you guys, and it's also very exciting for all of us. We've got our leadership team at Maryland, Virginia here as well, and then this group over here, we've got the leadership team here at the location, here at the site, at the plant. And as Todd Ahrens has said, both to me and the rest of the leadership team and to the board several times, you guys are just doing a great job. Very proud, very pleased, very happy with what we've gotten done so far these first few months, and just look forward to continued growth, continued volume, continued optimism, and path toward profitability. And we're just real excited. I want to thank all of you for everything you're doing. The team, Scott, that you've put together is great. It's just really pleasant and really exciting, and just very humbling to see sort of what we've got going on up here. I'm just real proud and happy to be a part of it. We do have Secretary Russell Redding here. He's been very helpful and instrumental, as his office and staff have been, in helping us get this project to this point. They continue to support us and be very helpful. Gotten to know Russ pretty good over the last couple of years. I know this will surprise you, but he and Mike John actually went to college together. They were classmates at Penn State. I know Mike looks pretty rough and Russ looks real young and vibrant, but you know, we're all three kind of about the same age, and people have a hard time believing that Russell and I, or that Secretary Redding and I and Mike are the same age, because, you know, Mike looks a lot older than we do. But you know, with that auspicious introduction, Secretary Redding, I'll let you come up and make a few comments, and thank you very much for your help, and thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, it's an honor, Jay. Thank you.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Very nice. Thank you. Let me just pick up on a couple of comments. As Jay noted, every time he comes back, it looks better. Every time I come back, it looks better. Just to say, we were here on the first day of spring in March, you know, and it was a fairly steady breeze through this area, as I recall. Yeah, it was that little touch of spring, but as we said then, of course, we were with Governor Shapiro, and I can't tell you the number of times since that we've talked about that moment, right? As we've traveled the state, the governor and I have talked about agriculture. It came up in our budget discussions. It's been a point of discussion around sort of what the state needs to do relative to economic development. It's part of our strategy for economic development as a state, which I'll talk a bit about. But just know that that moment was really important. And of course, I feel like this has a long journey, right? It began, I'm not sure when for the board in Maryland, Virginia, but I know at the Public Officials Day, when we had Secretary Vilsack with us during Farm Show at Public Officials Day, there was some discussion then, and Mike chuckles just because I think there was an announcement that may have been a little premature in that, but U.S. Secretary of Agriculture mentioned it, Governor mentioned it. Of course, we came in March, and we're back now for the ribbon cutting. So I feel like I've got my 3 a day on dairy for Maryland, Virginia. But let me just sort of back up a little bit and say thank you. I mean, this is really important development in the life of Maryland, Virginia. It's an important development in the life of Pennsylvania agriculture, Pennsylvania dairy, and just want to say thank you for the vision that this board has. You don't undertake these types of investments without sort of all of the assumed sort of worry of how is it going to work, and can you financially afford it? I mean, will the producers support it, et cetera. But I really applaud you. I mean, I get a chance to travel the state of Pennsylvania every day, and you hear all of the stories about markets, and you hear the stories about infrastructure. And what I admire most is in the cooperative structure is that, the benefit of a cooperative is you control your own destiny, right? You get a chance to make the investment yourself, right? And take money out of, your right pocket, right? And put into the marketplace to help build the infrastructure. You also control it by one member, one vote. Those principles are important. But what I admire most in a cooperative is the expectation and requirement, quite frankly, for cooperation. It's in the title, right? And I feel at times that we have lost our ability to cooperate. And when you see that work inside of agriculture and inside of this decision, you're really proud of what cooperatives and the cooperative history provides us. But you also see the word cooperation and cooperative come to life. And that's a really important differentiator for Maryland, Virginia, and our cooperatives in Pennsylvania, is that every single member that's part of your cooperative is vested in today. They're vested in this plan. That is both a good feeling and gives me a lot of hope and promise for what the potential is for Pennsylvania dairy here in the state. We spend a lot of time talking about value added, right? I think this was part of the genesis of what do we do and where do we go and how do we build the business for Maryland, Virginia. The whole value added discussion loomed large, right? I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's what this plan is. It's about a value added. But I would ask us to think about value added in all of its forms, right? The value added, of course, that we see here on the side of this truck is the actual product and nutrition. But I think the value added also goes to the jobs here at the plant and the jobs in Philadelphia. It's about the environmental sustainability and the work that this cooperative has done, and really unprecedented in forming these relationships between the cooperative members, Turkey Hill and the Alliance for the Chesapeake Bay, and there's a long list of them. But to say that is value added, the value added that you provide to the quality of life in your own communities, whether you're in North Carolina or Pennsylvania, that is a quality of life, and that's a value added. And we thank you for the value added to Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania agriculture. As we look at the work ahead, however, there's a lot to do. And when the governor stood here in March, he talked about, at that point, he had just introduced a budget and had a lot of sort of components to it, but a couple of things that have now come to fruition. He talked about the economic development strategy for the state, and he talked about investments. And just to tell you now, as we stand here in August, is that we have the best budget for Pennsylvania and just to bring it home for agriculture as we've ever had. I have spent so much time in my professional life talking about the economic development needs of agriculture, right? It's a business, but a business without walls. But all of those principles apply, right? At the farm level, you know that, right? You've got to invest in the farms, you've got to invest in the infrastructure. And today, we know that we've got the PA Sites program, which I'm really proud of, and it helps Pennsylvania compete with other states and our competitor states, particularly in the region. But how do we approach economic development? We've got an innovation fund for the first time in Pennsylvania's in the Department of Agriculture in Pennsylvania's history where we can invest in the innovation, right? We've never had that before. We have new investments in the Center for Dairy Excellence, the Ag Business Development Center. But all of that is inside of what the governor mentioned in March, and that was about the economic viability of the state and how we approach and strategize about what we do with key sectors of our economy. And I'm particularly proud that agriculture is one of the 5 pillars of our economic development strategy for Pennsylvania. It is there among energy and the life sciences and manufacturing, robotics and agriculture are the 5. So think about where we're placed inside of the strategy for the governor and the strategy for Pennsylvania. And then look at the crosscut that goes across energy and manufacturing and innovation and energy and all of that. And I would argue that agriculture is at that nexus of those other sectors and really critically for Pennsylvania and our future. So we celebrate what has happened, we celebrate the work that you're doing, and very much appreciate the investments. One of the key investments, of course, is in partnership, was mentioned by Secretary Vilsack during the Public Officials Day, and that was at that point the announcement about the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Grants, RSFI. Can I say that here, or do I get tossed over the fence? I was forewarned that I was supposed to bring a check. That's how I was greeted, 5 feet into the. I hope it all works. Just know that we had a little over $20 million to invest. We had $80 million in requests, right? So you can see the competition for infrastructure. But you should take some pride in having the largest grant that we recommended to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, at $2.25 million, right? It's the largest grant, so we're excited about it, but that was intentional. It's exactly what we envisioned with RSFI. It's what Secretary Vilsack and USDA has envisioned. So it's got an extra step in here. So I know you're all very patient people. It takes a little longer. It's gone through a full process at the state. We had to rank them, recommended the list of funding. That is all now with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And we have been pressing for decision for all, but we're hoping that we could get a release on the Maryland-Virginia grant. That didn't happen, but it doesn't change our commitment to you, and we are pretty hopeful that at the end of the day and soon that will come through. I've talked to Mike about sort of what that's going to be. I've read your application. Again, it's a critical piece of the value-added business that we're talking about. It's critical for the equipment needs and such. But I'm really proud of it. I mean, I think the investment and what we saw in each of the grant applications, and it reminds us why we have to invest. It underscores the agriculture being one of the 5 pillars. But we're going to use that for sure to help also motivate both the legislature and Congress. You have to continue to invest, right? And the challenge now for us, I think, in ag is building the capacity. We're excellent producers. We can produce it. But you have to find a way to take the raw product and add value, right? That's where you are. That's why this plant is here and why we're standing here today. But just know that we are committed to that. In addition to that, we know at the farm level, you got to deal with the permitting issues and make that more efficient. We're working on it. We have a lot of investments we want to make in agriculture. But let me just wrap up by saying our commitment to you is that, one, we're proud you're here. We very much appreciate the cooperative spirit that is evident in Maryland, Virginia. We appreciate your focus on Pennsylvania, that you recognize that the assets that we have here are also your assets, that diversity is a strength, and we're blessed by it. To have the Amish and the English, to have first generation and 10th generation, have 44 inches of natural rain. We just wish we could control it, right? A little more. But just to say, every time, and I have a habit, Ashley knows this, that I turn the New York Times over every morning. and I look at the heat map of the United States, and I realize what we're doing is drawing these aquifers down faster than we can say thank you, right? That long play is I want to be someplace that has the soil, the people, the markets, right, the expertise, and people who believe in this industry want to invest in it, and to have a governor and a legislature that believe strongly in the future of agriculture gives me a lot of hope. So I'll end where I began, with a simple thank you. This plant certainly is more than a simple facility. It is a symbol of growth, the shared success, and the opportunity that you see and we see. So thank you for the vision. Thank you for choosing Pennsylvania to make this expansion, and a little bit of a leap of faith, but also done with a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise, and a lot of passion and commitment to the future. So thank you for investing in your members. Thanks for investing in Pennsylvania agriculture. And thank you for adding value to both your members and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and our community. So congratulations to you, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Secretary Redding, and I hope everyone, after hearing those comments, which we greatly appreciate, I hope everyone realizes how sincere and how dedicated to agriculture in Pennsylvania that, again, both Secretary Redding and his office and team and staff, and Governor Shapiro. He wasn't here with us today. He was here back in March, as the Secretary said. But you know, after having some interaction with the governor and his staff and team and the secretary and his, we had a board meeting as we were continuing to talk through this process, this journey, this vision. And one of our board members said, you know, because we've talked to other states and other leaders in other states, and one of our board members said, you know, are these guys sincere? Are they for real? Are they serious? And I said, well, be more specific. Do they really want to support what we're doing? And specifically, do they really want to support agriculture? And I said, let me tell you, more so than any other state, quite frankly, that I've worked with in my 22 years as CEO, they are absolutely sincere. I said, Governor Shapiro, I think, understands, with his background of being a kind of a Philly native, but understanding he's the governor of a state that is very, very strong, to your point, in agriculture, and is a leader in this country in agriculture. He knows that he needs to be there, and he is there. And I've been very pleased to get to know him and his team and Secretary Redding and theirs, and they are very sincere, they're very legitimate. They have been super supportive, and we are very appreciative of that, and again, it's just been a great partnership, and we look forward to it continuing for years into the future. This may not necessarily be the last ribbon cutting we ever have, so we look forward to continuing to grow and have a great partnership and a great relationship. So thank you very much, and thank everyone for being here. Thank you guys for all you're doing. We couldn't do it. These guys over here on this side had the vision, and you guys are putting it to work. And we really do appreciate it. It's a great opportunity for the organization, for all of us individually, and for all of our dairy farmer member owners. So thank you. Thanks.
One. Yay!